This, I believe, is the key to your next level. And this is the key that's going to take you into the stratosphere. And I am ready to align with you. If you want more for yourself, if you're like, okay, coming out of survival mode, I'm ready to create. I am ready to build. I am ready to expand. I don't know what that fucking means, but I'm fucking ready. If that's you, you're in the right place because that's where we're going. New vibe here, new vibe over here at the Selfish Women podcast, new vibe inside the Selfish Women movement. And I am putting all of these episodes on YouTube now, and go over there and check it out because I'm coming to you from a new space as well. We are elevating this conversation this year, and I want to get into where we're going inside this movement this year in 2026 because we have some important conversations we need to be having. And I want to talk about what needs to be released from 2025 and what we are fucking going for in 2026. So this is all about the podcast, but also about me and also about you, because that's what it's all about, right? Is like, where are we at? What are the conversations we need to be having? How are we going to continue to move forwards? We know growth isn't linear, it is a spiral, and we are going up the spiral today on the podcast. I've got my notes. Let's get into it. So, look, I'm always looking at what's happening in the culture, and here's something that I've been noticing. So, midlife reinvention, let's talk about it. This started becoming very hot, this topic, a few years ago, just after the pandemic. Women in their 40s, 50s, 60s starting to reinvent their lives, get the divorce, leave the marriage, start a new business, start talking about, smashing the patriarchy and all of this stuff. And because of social media, especially I think because of TikTok, women had a voice like never before. And also, we had spaces where we could actually talk to each other in real ways. And so, midlife reinvention became this topic that was so empowering and exciting for women who are saying, like, yes, like it is my time and I am ready and let's do this shit. So, that has been a huge part of the cultural conversation for the last few years, especially in the spaces that I'm in. I have seen it be revolutionary for women as we have these conversations about reinvention and what does that even mean and what's possible for us when we get rid of all of this shit we've been carrying around our whole lives. But now what I see is it's kind of everywhere. And I don't know if you notice it, but I certainly have noticed it, especially in the last few months. I'm like, wow, everyone is talking about reinvention, and that's great and all, but I have a feeling that the tide is turning. I've noticed that the conversation has kind of plateaued. Like we're kind of stuck in this learning narrative, which is important, fundamental, foundational, okay? But are we talking about what comes after? Not as much. Not a lot of people are talking about what comes after your reinvention because there's a lot of energy around the glow up and the reinvention and all of this, but yeah, what comes after? So the selfish year and the selfish woman is all based on my selfish year of 2020, when I decided to be selfish for an entire year, coming out of the good girl, the pleaser, the self-abandoner, and really redefine my life and did truly reinvent myself from the ground up. And that's what my book is based on. And that's what my podcast was based on as well, as I went through that journey for myself. And that's part of every movement. Every movement evolves, right? As we evolve, it is not meant to stay stagnant. And so as I've been going through my own reinvention and my own evolution, you've all been along with me, whether you've been listening to the podcast here or reading my book or working with me, taking my courses, whatever it is. We've all been in this together and working towards, what does it mean to be selfish and unlearning our conditioning and rewiring our mind to understand what it looks like to actually put ourselves first, put ourselves fucking first. What does that even look like? That is the foundation of everything. What happens after you learn how to get selfish? And I think that's where the conversation stops for a lot of women. And that's where we need to go. Because my selfish year, like I said, was 2020. I wrote that book 2 years ago. And so for me, like I am in such a different place than when I had my selfish year and when I wrote the selfish year. And so, of course, the conversations are going to naturally evolve as well. And I believe that this is the next conversation that we as women need to be having. Because I'm going to guess that you're in one of two places. Number one, you're in the learning phase. You're still learning to say no. You're still learning to set boundaries. You're still rewiring your brain to align with the truth that you matter, that you get to go first, that you get to prioritize yourself. You are still in that phase, which is amazing. You have to do that work and you can't skip over it and you have to stay in it. And it takes as long as it's going to take to rewire your mind and start to even give yourself permission to be selfish, right? And to put yourself first. So that might be you. Or number two, you are in a place where you're like, okay, cool, got that, figuring that out. But now what? Because now that I have a foundation of self reliance, self acceptance, self love, now that I've learned how to not abandon myself in my life, now what? Now I'm feeling that energy that I used to leak to everybody else. I'm bringing it back to me, and now there's overflow, and I'm ready to build something for myself, whether that's a business, a career, financial freedom, health in your body, whether you want to build new relationships or something else, right? You start to feel that this is the next level for you. Because the selfish woman isn't the end. It is the beginning. It's the beginning of everything. And it is the foundation to building your life from the ground up on a solid internal system that can sustain everything you want to build. And if you don't have that internal system, it's all going to collapse. You're going to self-sabotage and you will be frustrated because you won't actually be able to get the level of success you want. You will hit that higher limit problem. And so that's the next level. Maybe you want to build a legacy that you can pass down to the future generations. Maybe you want to build an empire. Maybe you want to build something that actually takes everything you're learning and starts to give it to the world. Maybe you're a healer, a teacher, a spiritual guide. Maybe you're an entrepreneur. Maybe you're a coach. Maybe you don't know what you are, who you want to be, but you know the fuck that you are worthy and that your dreams matter and that you, if you want it, you can have it because that desire is for you. Wherever you are ready for that. You're like, let's fucking go. 2026 is the year. We don't stay stuck, we move forwards. Time to get out of survival mode, right? And into creating and into building and into expansion because you have what it takes to get what you want and it's all inside you. But you might still be blocked by things like insecurity, doubt, imposter syndrome, fear of judgment, self sabotage, the inner asshole in your head. So logically, you know that you are capable. Logically, you know you can do it. You're a badass. But internally, you're fighting yourself. This is the next level. This is what we need to start talking about. And that's what I am excited to start talking about. Because how do you hold power without burning out? And I really experienced this last year. Got to a higher level of power than I ever had in my career. My first book was published. I started speaking on stages, big stages for the first time. The podcast started getting more and more visibility, and I started getting a lot more opportunities. And quite frankly, I was making a lot more money, which was awesome. All of that was awesome. But guess what? I still didn't have that inner system to hold that level of power and position. So what did I do? Yep, sabotage myself. That old version of you, when you elevate and expand, that old version of you comes knocking on your door and going, hey, this is a lot. Like, yeah, it's all good and all, but don't you want to just come back to this place that's more comfy and familiar? And I did for a while because it felt really like a lot. And so I did, and I found myself going back to old habits and wanting to hide because I had another level of this inner systems work that I needed to do. And once I started doing that and getting back into that work, I felt the shift internally. I felt the ability to be able to hold more. I felt like I was able to go out and be more visible and say the scary things and do the scary things. I had that energy again, but I had to work through that block that came up. You kind of have to ghost your old version of yourself because she doesn't want you to do this. You are not yet calibrated in your internal systems, mind, body, soul, to hold that next level of power. And so once you do the work, the selfish woman work, to overcome those people pleasing, good girl, self abandoning patterns, then new level, new devil, as I always say, you then get to do the next level work, which is what I'm talking about, which is continuing to build those inner systems. But now you're building from that foundation of the selfish woman work, and you're going into what I'm calling the sovereign woman work, which is continuing to build inner confidence, peace, presence, authority, conviction, connection, and alignment that will then allow you to start to build. So I have been, as I said, working on this all last year. And it is always the same. Everything that I encounter that I have to work on in myself becomes the next level of the work that I bring to the world. Just like the selfish year was born out of my own experiment of being selfish for a year and doing that deep inner work on myself, now, the sovereign woman level is coming out of the work I did all last year. And one thing I'm really excited about, which I'm going to be talking about more, but I'll just touch on it briefly here, is this idea of the queen, right? And I talk about this a lot. Like, you are the queen of your life. But if you don't know it, and if you don't know the power that you hold, then you aren't sitting on your throne, right? And you are not sitting in the authority and the power that you are meant to have. And so a queen, every queen needs a castle, and your castle is the foundational work that you do to start to build. It's like layers of this foundation, right? So if you think of the selfish woman as that first level of the castle, right? It's the first floor. When you come in, there are rooms in there that you have to go into and explore and work on. Inner child work, shadow work, which is facing the shit we don't want to face in ourselves. That has to be addressed. Getting connected to yourself. All of the principles that I talk about in my book, that is the first floor of your castle. Then the second floor is the sovereign woman floor, right? And this is where you then elevate into bigger, expansive work, legacy, impact, leadership, how you show up, taking up more space, being visible, being vulnerable, sharing, being generous, being a giver, all of that stuff. That is your vision, your dreams. That is going to be the next floor of the castle. The first floor work has to be done in order to elevate to that second floor. It's kind of like a video game, right? You got to finish the first level and then you get to elevate. It has to happen that way. Otherwise, yeah, you'll self-sabotage and you'll end up down in the dungeon, which is where all our shit lies. And then you got to pull yourself back out. So the castle is the metaphor that I am using for this work that we're doing as women, because it's time for women. It's time for us to elevate into our power, our position, our authority. You know, I made a video last week on TikTok and I said, I am not available for problem focused thinking anymore because when I look around at the world, a lot of the conversations are focused on the problem. And I know what you focus on expands. So if you are focusing on the problem, oh, this is terrible and that's awful and whatever, you are going to get more of that energetically and you are going to create more of that and it's going to feel bigger and bigger and bigger of a problem. And that's going to start to weigh you down. But when you are solution focused, you are looking at how can I participate in the solution? And look, for you, if you are looking around going, everything feels hopeless right now, or heavy, or I can't even imagine how I could step into my big dreams, that's because you're focusing on the problem, babe. And we got to get you into focusing on the solution. But guess what? The solution is you. In whatever way the world needs to change, it is going to come from you becoming the solution by becoming the highest level version of yourself so you can heal yourself and then step into leadership and power and start to bring your voice into the world and your gifts because the world needs your gifts. That is how we heal the world, by healing ourselves. And then you will be led into whatever that looks like for you, right? Whatever version of that is for you, that is your place to step into your calling. And women, we are being asked to step into and up to our calling and our position and our leadership and our power. So we've got to do the work on ourselves, because if you don't do that work on yourself first, you could get that thing you want, that dream, that vision, but like I said, you will sabotage and you'll either fuck it up or you will sabotage and you'll end up right back where you started. So that's why the inner system is so critical for us right now. And so if you think of the castle, I want you to think about the level that you're at. You can think of it like the selfish woman level is like your bachelor's degree, and the sovereign woman level is the master's. And then your PhD is going to be like way even beyond what I am going to guess you can't even see yet. But I can take you there because part of what I bring to the world is I can see the most expanded version of yourself, and then I show you what it is, and then I show you how to get it. So don't worry about not being able to see it yet. But are you in the selfish woman floor of the castle? If so, then that means that you have work to do on your self abandonment and your shame, your guilt, your people pleasing, your patterns of control and perfectionism, your anxiety, your doubt, your worry. Okay, if that's you, you are in the right place, my friend. Go listen to past episodes of this podcast. Get my book, The Selfish Year, and read it because I give you strategies in each chapter for you to do this work. And if you've been hanging out on that floor for a while and you're like, okay, I'm ready for more, then come on up to the sovereign woman level because that's where the Queen Code comes in. And the Queen Code is my methodology that I built last year from the very ashes of myself. And this methodology is something that nobody else out there is doing. So I am super fucking stoked about this. But the Queen Code methodology looks like this. You are going to work on your neurological brain, right? Rewiring your mind. You are going to work on your somatic, your nervous system and your body. The third piece is the key that changes everything, and that is your inner mythology. Your inner mythology are the stories that you live by, the archetypes that you identify with, and the symbols and the imagery and the deep, rich experience of your soul that you are going to have that is going to guide you into the sovereign woman and then beyond. The sky's the limit, baby, because once you have those three, neuro, somatic, and mythic, all in alignment, what I have seen in myself and the clients that I've been using this methodology with in the past year has been mind blowing. This, I believe, is the key to your next level. And this is the key that's going to take you into the stratosphere. And I am ready to align with you. If you want more for yourself, if you're like, okay, coming out of survival mode, I'm ready to create. I am ready to build. I am ready to expand. I don't know what that fucking means, but I'm fucking ready. If that's you, you're in the right place because that's where we're going this year. And if you noticed, I have a new intro and outro for this podcast because out with the old, in with the new. Every time I evolve, everything has to evolve with me. And this was a download that I got that was so exciting. And I was like, okay, this is the vibe of the podcast. My word for 2026 is alive. I want to feel more alive than ever. I want to be lit up, tuned in, tapped in, turned on, energized, electric, magnetic. And I want you to be too, because that's huge for you to start to build your life from the ground up on a solid foundation that's going to take you anywhere you want, that's going to change the fucking world. Can you tell I am excited about this? I hope you are too. So the intro and the outro represent the aliveness that I want to bring into this podcast now, okay? It's a new era, Fire Horse 2026. The aliveness I want you to get from the frequency of this podcast and my transmissions is this. When you are fully alive, everything comes to you because you are magnetic, baby. And it's not about striving and hustling and freaking out and worrying. It is about being the most magnetic and alive version of yourself, and then allowing the universe to start to come and bring things to you that represent and reflect that aliveness. So for me, I am going to be doing everything this year that is going to light me up. And that starts with my habits, my patterns, my mindset, my beliefs, and my actions. And you better believe I'm already feeling the shift. And I'm so excited to bring this shift to you. So, my invitation to you right now, if this is exciting to you, if you are like, hell to the yes, I'm in. I don't know what this fucking means. I don't know where we're going with this. But if this is where the selfish woman movement is going, then I'm fucking in. I am a member. Let me be a selfie. If that's you, here's what I want you to do. I want you to sign up for the Phoenix, because the Phoenix is my community, my sisterhood that I have been leading for, I think, about 4 years now. And it is the place where we are going to be boots on the ground doing this work together. It is for women who are building empires, who are building legacies, who are ready to go for it. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know how you're doing it. You don't know what's going to happen, but you are ready, and you know you can't do it alone. We aren't meant to do it alone. So I want you to join the Phoenix. We meet twice every month for teaching, connection, and accountability. Okay. And this is how you're going to build the inner system, which is what I'm talking about. All right. Because 2 times a month, I come in, I do a teaching, I do basically a mini masterclass, and then I do hot seat coaching. We also have a Telegram app where we are on there pretty much every day with accountability, with sisterhood, with friendship. These are the women that are going to support you in building your own fucking castle in your life and becoming the queen who knows who she is, who knows her value, who knows what she fucking wants. This is the place you're going to do it. And I am so excited for where the Phoenix is going to go this year. So join the Phoenix. I'm going to put the link in the notes. What I want you to do is click on the link, go and read all about the Phoenix, and then you can join right there. All right. This is a membership that is private, it is safe, it is secure, and it is electric, and it is going to support you in 2026 being the year that you fucking change everything. This is the year. There's a before and an after. And this is the year that you will look back on and go, everything changed in this year for me because I showed up for myself and I was willing to get uncomfortable and I was willing to do the scary things and I was willing to put myself first and I was willing to learn something new and I was willing to meet myself in ways that I'd never met myself before. I'm telling you, that's what's possible for you. So you either mean it or you don't. You're either going to raise your standards or you won't. Because if you want a world-class life, and quite honestly, why wouldn't you? If you want a world-class life, then you have to treat yourself with world-class respect. You cannot create a world-class life if your standards are in the dungeon. You got to elevate your standards of what you require for yourself, and your time, your energy, and your money must align with your standards. Otherwise, you are going to notice that nothing happens. And then you're going to be like, this doesn't work. This is all bullshit. No, it's because you haven't aligned your standards with your actions. Okay. So that's where we're going. I want you in the Phoenix. Please go and click on the notes and read all about it. And then the second thing I want you to do is to subscribe to this podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, come over and see me on YouTube. I've got the incense going. I've got the candles lit. It's all a vibe over here. So subscribe to the podcast, either on Spotify or Apple, wherever you listen. Leave a review. It only takes 30 seconds. It makes a huge difference because right now this podcast is in the top 5%. And my goal for 2026 is to get it into the top 1%. And that is totally doable, but we need to do it together. Remember, when one woman rises, we all rise. So please go and subscribe and leave a review. And then hop over to my YouTube channel. I will also put that link in the notes and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Leave a comment on this video. Tell me what you think. I want to talk to you. That's a great place on YouTube for us to build a community also. I want to hear from you. And then lastly, grab your copy of The Selfish Year. You can get it wherever books are sold and start working through the book because that is how you're going to start building that first level of your castle, the selfish woman level. And I want you to be doing that work because it is going to kickstart you into an incredible year. All right, my friends, I love you so much. Thanks for hanging out here. Thanks for being here on this journey with me. And I'm so excited for where we're going in the Selfish Woman movement in 2026. It is all happening, baby. And it's all happening because you are a fucking rock star. And don't you forget it. All right, I'll see you next time. Mwah. Bye.